Good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome into the Volquest Mailbag Podcast. I'm Eric Kane alongside Brent Hubbs, Grant Ramey, and Austin Price. A big week coming up, third Saturday in October, coming up in a few days, Tennessee and Alabama. Had a lot of fun kind of previewing and talking about that matchup each and every day this week. We'll do it again here today, tomorrow, and of course on Saturday. No better place to do that than right here at Volquest.com and on the General's Quarters, the best Tennessee football online community there is. Come and join us, $1 for your first week. A lot going on right now. Fall baseball, basketball starting, exhibition play here in a couple next weekend. Football, recruiting, all that and more right here. We talk about it every day on the General's Quarters. Let's jump into your questions. Got a lot to move through here. We'll start with Orange since 78. Are the defensive issues fixable, or are we at a point of 2022 where we just have to outscore everybody?
I mean, I think there's a part of you are who you are at this point, right? I think that I don't know that there's a magic wand to fix some things. They clearly are having some issues in the back end and the secondary that they've got to clean up. I think linebackers and coverage has to be put into that conversation as well, not just, one person or one position on the field. So, I mean, I think Tennessee to win games are going to have to score points and be in higher scoring games. In 22, 5 of the 8 conference games, Tennessee held their opponent to 27 points or less. Now, everybody remembers the Alabama game, Grant, where you had to outscore. It was last possession deal. You scored 33, or Florida scored 33, so you had to outscore them. But then we all know what happened in that South Carolina game. So we'll see. I mean, if Tennessee, in 22, if Tennessee held a team under 4 touchdowns, that was like pitching a shutout because your offense was so explosive. 27 right now, if you did that the rest of the way, you're probably going to win every game you play, or you think you have a great shot at it.
I think it's fixable because we've seen stretches where they've played well and they've got off the field and they've made big plays. That's the frustrating part is there have been moments where, you give up, 17 to Arkansas in the first 20 minutes, and then you don't give up any more points until the fourth quarter when you're up 34-17, you got a chance to put Arkansas even, away even more, and you don't do it. You give up 2 long touchdown drives. There were times takeaways at Mississippi State, and there's times where you're not stopping the run. There's times where you're looking awful in coverage and taking bad angles or rush lanes and all this stuff. It feels like it's fixable because we've seen it be good at times. It's just not consistently good.
Yeah, I would agree. There's stretches where they're playing some pretty good defense, and that's why, again, you mentioned it was so frustrating. Like, you're entering the fourth quarter, and one of my buddies that's the biggest, Tim Banks hater there is, texted me and said, all right, hand up. He made adjustments. All right, I get it. And, it's looking really good, and then you allowed those 2 touchdowns there to end the game, and, of course, it's a 3-point win. And that last touchdown, we talked about it a lot. Tennessee converts a third down on 3rd and 3. You don't punt it through the end zone. Then, of course, you can't give up chunk plays of 20 and 30 there, to come back in and, put that deficit at 3 points. So it just kind of feels like it changes the narrative a little bit or the mood a little bit moving forward. Someday, I feel like other coaches do a better job of working the officials. The other day, Cignetti was almost at the 50 talking about a PI call. I know it's not his demeanor, but could he, Josh Heupel, do a better job of working the officials?
I think he certainly works them. He does it in his own way. He doesn't do it through the media a whole lot. Remember last year at Georgia, and Adam Sparks asked him the question, and he just turned the mic around on Adam and just looked at him. That's his way of trying to get his point across. He certainly talks to them. He doesn't get out there at the numbers. That's just kind of not his MO. But listen, Tennessee's, it has to be more disciplined. They've got to, they have to take some of that stuff out of the officials' hands by playing cleaner football. You could call a penalty on any play. I watched multiple defensive ends or edge guys for Tennessee last week get tackled. Same thing in the Alabama Missouri game last week. I watched multiple Missouri defensive ends get tackled by Alabama tackles, and they did nothing about it. Tennessee's not gotten a favorable whistle traditionally. You don't normally see it happen 10-1 at home. That's a bit more the head scratcher, but he certainly talks to officials, works them, but it certainly doesn't seem to work.
I think there's times where it just doesn't matter too. Hugh Freeze Saturday night had his AD going after officials going off the field at I don't think that changed anything, did it?
No. I mean,
that, not to bring up a bad memory, but that Elite Eight game in 24 against Purdue was 40 minutes of Rick Barnes going crazy on officials because of the way they treated Zach Edey, and nothing changed for that entire 40 minutes. Like, sometimes I think it's overblown that just because a coach is going crazy that something's going to change.
There are very few Phil Jackson deals where Phil can talk about how Jordan was roughed up, and then the next game, all of a sudden, they breathe on him and they're calling penalties, right? I mean, like there are very few of those type deals. And again, as Grant said, sometimes it does you more harm than good to be demonstrative.
But it doesn't help when you see Kirby doing what Kirby does the other day, right? Like, yeah, like fans will sit there and say, well, look at that. Like, Kirby gets that treatment sometimes. Like, I'm just saying that just doesn't help when.
And both can be totally accurate, right? It's kind of like, I saw the Georgia media out there. They're out there tweeting, videos of the safety for Auburn clapping. Both things can be true. Auburn's safeties can be clapping to try to mimic the quarterback for the opposing team, and Kirby could be motioning timeout. Both things can be true. Like, both things can be true. And the same thing here. Both things can be true of what Eric's saying and what Grant's saying.
Athrun's got a couple here. Will Tennessee pursue the running back that's it said recommitted? I would assume he means decommitted. Decommitted from Penn State this week.
Not to my knowledge. I don't believe that's one they're going after. Again, I've not been told that. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I've not heard anything about it.
Does the secondary need to play more like Jermod McCoy does and less like scared kittens? If you don't get your hands on a wide receiver, you have a failed mentality. Could that help in coverage, or would it just get them burned even more?
I think Colton Hood's played well. I think Ty Redmond's a freshman who's trying to figure it out. And I think when you look at Ty Redmond, he's probably, Grant, a little more hesitant after the Georgia game. He's probably not played with the same aggressiveness that he played with the first couple of weeks because of what happened to him in the Georgia game. It depends on what coverage you're in. I get it. There are times that Tennessee's playing off coverage and then they back up as soon as the ball snapped, and put themselves in a bad position. I think there's some things fundamentally they can do better. But I don't know that everybody's playing scared in the secondary at corner.
No, the way the question's asked makes me think of corners, and I don't think corners have been the problem. I think Boo Carter could be more physical over the middle, and it just feels like that one conversion from third down for Arkansas game sticks out where Boo just wasn't anywhere near that guy running across the middle, and that's the plays that maybe you can be more physical on. I don't know the ins and outs of their coverages or that stuff like that, but it is frustrating to watch defensive backs just not be in the area when they need to be in the area.
How much is the middle of the field going to kill this defense on Saturday? We're just smiling and having a good time this morning.
you got to see it happen, right? To believe it, or you got to see Tennessee stop it and have success in the secondary, Hubbard, right? To believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's just one of those deals where they've got to play better. I know that's not the answer anybody wants to hear, but they're not picking up any new bodies on the waiver wire. There's not somebody sitting and waiting. Somebody's not coming off the injury list this week. They just got to go play better, and they have to perform better than they performed, and that's the bottom line. Is they just have to play better. I don't know how else to say it.
I feel like Willie said that Tuesday too, right? I don't feel like he tried to excuse it. I thought pretty sure he said we got to be better. Like, that's it. Like, they have to play better.
And I said this on the 2-minute drill, and yes, he did say that, and I completely agree. It's easy just to sit there. You're getting paid money, blame the coaches. I understand all that. It's, Willie's not forcing them to miss tackles out there, missing way too many tackles. But for me, it's like he also said, got to do a better job of communicating. Okay, you're 6 games in. Got to do a better job of knowing down and distance. You're 6 games in, and down and distance is elementary school, right? Like, that to me is kind of like, well, what's going on here, right? Like, you're going into game 7, like, you shouldn't be struggling with those issues right now. You're always going to have to communicate, and there's always going to be different tweaks to the game plan. I recognize that, but knowing down and distance, to me, I'm just kind of like, you don't want to hear that. But I agree. Sometimes you are in position, you got to go execute, and a lot of times they're not executing as well.
Well, here's the thing too about the Willie Martinez, media deal on Tuesday. And I know he took some criticism on a couple of threads on the board. I mean, what does everybody want him to say? I mean, what? I mean, you're getting ready to go play Alabama. Do you want him to say, yeah? I mean, our safeties are terrible. I mean, is he supposed to say, I'm terrible? Like, what's? I mean, he's not going to throw anybody under the bus at that point. And so, I mean, he came out and said, we have to play better. And here's some things we have to do better. And he put it on himself and he put it on players. And I mean, is that coach speak? Absolutely. Is that what happens in press conference? Absolutely. That's what happens in press conferences. I mean, everybody can see where their issues are. Their issues are on third down. They can't get off the field on third down. By whatever means necessary, they have to find some way to try to fix that. Plain and simple.
Do you think we get to tie enough on Saturday to force enough timing issues to help us get a win, or does Tennessee do the typical Tennessee thing? I mean, Athrun's just all roses this morning. Or does Tennessee do the typical Tennessee thing and give up another quarterback Heisman type moment? I think that's a key point. I was talking with Grant off air before this, like Austin, like Ty Simpson's going to get his yards. He's going to make plays. He's having a really good year, right? And based on what Tennessee's been giving up in that regard. But also, like, Tennessee's front has been really good. They've been harassing quarterbacks. Can you get to him enough in critical situations? Can you get to him enough to knock him off rhythm a little bit to affect the end result of this football game? I think that's a key, right? Because he's going to get his at points in times, but can you step up and make a play when it's needed on, again, third down, red zone, stuff like that? That's something we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think if I'm the defense coordinator, and I'm not. But if I were, I'm bringing pressure all night long. Letting Ty sit back there and just rushing for or being very vanilla, I think is a recipe for disaster. I think, obviously there's the possibility that you get hit on a big play when you bring pressure and you have a bust or something like that. But for me, I'm going to live and die by Josh Josephs, Caleb Herring, Jordan Ross, any of those defensive linemen that can get there. I think that's paramount in this game. Bringing a corner blitz, doing something different, throwing some different looks at him. Either way, I am not letting Ty sit back there and do his thing. Ty, from a running standpoint, is really, really solid. I think he's better than Gunnar Stockton. Where I worry more about Ty is his ability to run, like when they get into the red zone or down inside the 10, when Tennessee's got to guard less space. That's when I think his ability to make plays with his legs really kick in.
To Austin's point, Brent, I mean, think back to the Georgia game. Tennessee blitzed a lot. Tennessee specifically blitzed on a lot of third downs. You remember that throw that Gunnar Stockton made that was just gorgeous, motioned across the middle. Ty Redmond was blanking him the entire time. Tennessee blitzed there, and he just made a play. Like, if that happens, sometimes you can live with it. To Austin's points, knowing that you did everything you possibly could do and they just go out there and make a play, at least you kind of exercised or exhausted all of your options.
Well, here's the stat that jumps out to me, Grant. Ty Simpson's been sacked 8 times the last 2 games, and it hadn't slowed down their offensive production. They haven't protected him great, but Ty Simpson still made enough of the plays that you need to make that he needs to make for them to win. They converted 3 fourth downs in the fourth quarter at Missouri to win the game. Again, he was sacked 4 times in that game. He was sacked 4 times in the Vanderbilt game, and they still won. Tennessee has to sack him. They have to get to him. It's harder to make him uncomfortable than you think because he has handled pressure well. I mean, look, you go back to the Florida State game. I mean, he ran for his life for 4 quarters, and that was a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. I mean, everybody acts like Florida State won that game 45-3. That was a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. And the reason it was a 1-score game is because he made plays running for his life in that game. He made enough plays to sort of keep them in it and give them a chance. Was he perfect? No. He had a bunch of incompletions. They played really poorly. They played a lot better. I think the challenge with Ty Simpson is how do you rattle him? Because, again, a lot of quarterbacks who get sacked 4 times in a game, Grant, have more than 7 incompletions. But that's not been the case with Ty Simpson.
I mean, you're going to have to make more plays defensively than Ty Simpson makes. Like, you're going to have to get to him, whether that's sack numbers, whether that's QB hits, whether that's hurries, whether that's your secondary making plays on third down to get off the field. You're going to have to outnumber him in big plays.
Yeah, and I wonder too, like for Ty, like where's he at mentally in this game? This is his first start against his home state school. And whether you believe it or not, Ty likes the Vols, even though he picked Alabama. So he's going to want to win this one really, really bad. So, like, where's he at emotionally? Where's he at as far as being amped up in this type of game? You can play lights out when you get like that. You can also play disastrous when you get like that. So where's he at in a game like this, going against a school that he grew up watching a ton?
ETSUVol, what would you think is the best recruiting class in Tennessee in any sport?
Right now, I mean, when you look at what's committed, is it not baseball? I mean, like, what do they have? Like 17 top 100 players or something like that committed right now in baseball?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going right now, it's the class of 27 for Tennessee baseball that continues to be building. 7 top 100s and counting, like 6 top 50. Not all those guys will make it here, but yeah, if you're going right now, it's absolutely Tennessee's 27 baseball class.
Yeah, and, I mean, like, as long as Tony's here, it'll probably always be that, because he's always going to have all these super highly rated guys committed. Now, how many of them get to campus when the draft happens? You don't know, but I mean, yeah, he's always going to have. And it's been that way for a few years now, where guys they never got here. I mean, how many sons of former major leaguers has he had committed over the last 4 or 5 years that they never get to campus because they get drafted on it?
But also keep in mind too, I mean, everybody wants to forget the ones that did make it here, right? Chase Burns was 17 overall, made it here. Trent Grondlinger this past year, Cam Appenzeller, Ethan Moore. There's tons and tons of other examples, but he's also done a really good job of getting guys here too. So it's like everybody, I just roll my eyes when I see like, oh, it doesn't matter. Cool, never be here. Stack them up, man. Your odds are in your favor if you continue to stack them up. He's going to get his fair share here, and they're going to be a pretty good class.
Talk to me, Kane. I love when he starts throwing the names out.
But I mean, here's the thing quickly on that, Eric. I mean, there's a notion in baseball right now that the college game is a better path for preparation for the next level, as opposed to riding the bus and high single A rookie ball or whatever. So with the NIL money that's out there, this rev share money that's out there, with whole scholarships that are out there now, it makes more sense to come to college for a couple of years and then go back into the draft, as opposed to getting on some bus and riding around, in the Midwest and playing more average competition, if you will. There's a lot of people believe you get better playing in the SEC than you do playing, rookie baseball.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, not just Tennessee. Look at LSU players' past. Look at Tennessee's past. Look at some Arkansas guys. And Joe Doyle, if you follow him in the baseball circles, I mean, he's been tweeting last couple of days like, "Hey, they're going to have a new CBA. They're negotiating a new CBA in the next couple of years. Like, how does that affect minor league baseball? Could there be less teams? Could there be less pay? Could there be less levels? Like, those are things to monitor as well when that new CBA comes up here in the near future. That could also affect college baseball. I mean, college baseball is doing nothing but growing in popularity. And Brent, you're exactly right. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are going to go to school because you can get paid now. You got revenue share now, and you're facing really good competition that can put you on the fast track to reaching the show, which is, in the end, that's everybody's goal.
We need to do that one historically as well, though. Like Hubbard, is there one football class that stands out, or AP as well?
Oh, well, I mean, you had the 94 class with Peyton and that crew that was number 1 in the country that, kind of put them on the map there. Now, the 95 class wasn't well thought of, but obviously they went on and won a bunch of games. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot you can go back and look with that. I mean, you had the year that Pat Summitt signed the Meeks, Tamika and Samika and that group, and put them together. Rick Barnes has put together some classes as well. So it's a good one. Mark that down. Star that one for a summertime podcast.
Rick's 16 class was Grant Williams, John Fulkerson, Jordan Bone, Jordan Bowden. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I went and saw Grant in Charlotte the spring of his senior year, and he said, like, we're going to be the class that changes things, and we're going to be the class that makes this program nationally relevant again. And I kind of rolled my eyes like, that's not happening. Turns out it happened.
What do you know, man?
Yeah, what do I know?
Hey guys, want to tell you about our friends over at Homefield Apparel, the exclusive apparel sponsor of Volquest.com. Football season's halfway over. Can you believe it? The weather's changing, and you can be decked out to the extreme. You'll be decked out looking fantastic in your Tennessee Volunteers attire with our friends over at Homefield Apparel for sure. Can't miss Kickoff 2025 campaign. You can get football boxes, coaching jackets, bomber jackets, and so much more. These football boxes, you can see it over my right shoulder if you're watching on YouTube. Inside there came gorgeous long sleeve orange football shirt. Felt great. The material, back-to-back SEC championships. That's actually the 6 national championships t-shirt I have. I have another long sleeve black, great material, and it says, back-to-back SEC championships, 97 to 98. Awesome stuff. That looks good. There's a hoodie in there that you can wear really as the weather's changing. You can maybe use that in the second half this past Saturday. Gray, feels fantastic. Got a big old Tennessee helmet on the back. Interlocking UT. It's a vintage college design. That's what Home Field Apparel is all about. Vintage college design, allowing you to show off your school spirit. And Home Field can get you set for all weather occasions going to Neyland Stadium this football season with that can't miss kickoff 2025 campaign with the football boxes. So go to homefieldapparel.com to get started today. Trust me, there's still time left, right? Still half the football season out there, postseason. You don't want to miss it. All the awesome fans are wearing these awesome Home Field Apparel selection features. Go check it all out at homefieldapparel.com, the exclusive apparel sponsor of Volquest.com. Also want to tell you about our friends over at Dollar Shave. When you rep your team, don't just stop at the jersey. Dollar Shave Club's collegiate razor handles combine grooming with glory, letting students, grads, and fans show their school spirit and style. From the sink to the stadium, shave with school pride. Visit dollarshaveclub.com to grab your college handle today. That's dollarshaveclub.com to grab your college handle today, and go Vols. Do you think the uniforms will change with the move to Adidas?
Not significantly.
Fractions.
Yeah, I mean there might be a small tweak here and there, but it won't be anything. And again, remember, Tennessee has creative control in the uniform world for what they're doing. So this is not like Adidas is going to come to you and throw a uniform at you and say you got to wear this uniform. There is a collaborative effect, going on between the university's creative design team and Adidas as well.
Keep the word mark. Bring back block numbers. I'm tired of these numbers. That's my vote.
Yeah, I like block numbers too. I'm big into block numbers. I think they look better.
Peyton for Prez. What is the current status of rev share versus NIL collectives? Is Spyre/Vol Club still a major factor for student athletes' NIL money?
This past year, yes. Going forward, they will. It'll just be more of an over-the-top thing. There'll be like the rev share number, whatever that is for each sport, and then you'll have NIL deals that'll get passed through the clearinghouse that'll run through Spyre to get players X amount more money. So like if a kid's going to make, let's say, agreed to 1.2 rev share, then, or let's say, okay, let's just keep it round figures. Let's say $100,000 rev share, then, but it's going to take more than that to get a kid. Then like Spyre's going to have to go out and find X amount in real deals to pass through the clearinghouse. Which I think is still a bit of a paper tiger to get them to whatever number they're trying to get to.
All rev share did was raise the floor on how much your roster salary is going to be.
Yeah,
because it has not taken away from the NIL deals. It just raises the floor on how much money you're spending on your roster. That's what rev share's done.
Thoughts on conference championship weekend, scrapping championship games, and playing a Big Ten versus SEC showdown. Top 16 teams face off, flip a coin, I'm not going to read all this. Thoughts on a showdown with the Big Ten instead of, that's could be taken away playoff games, right?
Not the first week in December.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, you may do it the first or second week of the regular season, but you're not you're not going to get that and put that together in the first week of December.
I'm still for, and I don't know where we are in terms of the expansion and all that, but or the college football playoff expansion and all that, but I'm still for I would love a play-in scenario instead of a conference championship. I would love a 6 plays 5 for 5 plays 4 for that last spot or whatever it is. Like that's what I want to see more than anything.
The Big Ten does not want that. What's proposed? They're not going to want that because it's going to put a glaring spotlight on how weak they are at the bottom.
I would vote Peyton for Prez for president just because of this idea, because it's a TV viewer's dream the first weekend of December to get those kind of matchups. As basically another round of the playoff. It would be incredible, but no, I don't think it happens.
Kdgovols, as mentioned in the Monday Night Chat, Coach Garner has not signed his recent deal. What does that exactly mean? Are there rumblings that he can move on from UT eventually?
I mean, Coach Garner's been coaching for 3 decades plus in this conference. Certainly has family, back home. I mean, I don't have any idea what his plan is going to be at this point. We also don't know. We all don't, given Tennessee's lack of releasing anything on who's signed a deal and who doesn't sign a deal, you don't exactly know who's on what kind of deal right now with their contract. So, I mean, I don't think there's disgruntledness. I don't think there's some major issue out there. I mean, he's a 30-year veteran of the SEC, Austin, and who knows what he wants to do, what his long-term plan is, what his short-term plan is.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, all you can go on is the facts is he's not signed a deal, but I mean he's not the only one, and I mean a lot of these coaches bet on themselves trying to get a much bigger deal at the end of this year, and we'll see, what Tennessee elects to do to try to keep Coach Garner.
TMVols _CFI. Which personnel on staff work zone concepts on defense?
Coach Thomas, ET, Tim Banks, Alan Williams, Willie Martinez, William Inge, whoever's covering William Inge underneath him. I mean, everybody's involved in there. They don't have a zone coverage coach. Everybody's involved.
Because every position, or at least, the secondary guys, linebackers, they're all playing zone. So, they all need to be coached up on zone, just like they all be playing man in certain
situations. They get together with Jim Boeheim to talk about learning to play zone.
I like it. Thirsty Turtle. Do you see the ACC, Miami, Georgia Tech, and Virginia, or the Big 12, BYU and Texas Tech, getting multiple teams in? Notre Dame backing in at 10-2 with a win over USC. If this happens, do you see the CFP committee only giving the SEC or Big 10 2 spots with the group of 5 team getting a bid as well?
No, I do not. Obviously, the ACC could throw a total wrench into it if you end up with, Miami not winning the conference title. There'll be some pressure if a one-loss team that doesn't make the ACC title game, is sitting there. But no, I don't see that. I think the Big Ten is going to get 3: Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State. Barring Michigan somehow winning out and finishing 10-2 at that point. I think if you're a Tennessee fan or you're an SEC fan in general, that's one of these teams that's going to be sitting there at that 10-2 number potentially. I think you're a hard fan of USC this weekend, and then you hope USC loses to Oregon and loses to teams like Nico and UCLA. I think that stuff matters. So who's going to play spoiler in this deal down the stretch to knock some teams out? Because if Notre Dame loses this weekend to USC at home, then they're done. If they go 10-2, they're going to get in because they're Notre Dame. So, again, we talked about this on the Tuesday podcast. If Tennessee were to lose at Alabama, and it's close, where are they at in relation to Notre Dame, considering they would have similar, not the exact, because the 2 losses for Notre Dame as of now have no losses, but similar resumes to losing to top 10 teams close?
I think it would take a perfect world scenario to not get more than 2 SEC or Big Ten teams in. Like perfect world across the board. What are the chances that happens?
As of right now, I think you're getting 4 SEC, 3 Big Ten, probably a couple of ACC, 1 Big 12, and then the group of 5. And Notre Dame's the wrinkle there. Notre Dame could replace the other ACC team. Again, what happens with Virginia? What happens with Georgia Tech? And then does anybody else throw a wrench in that deal?
But you're right. Like Clemson threw a wrench in the stuff last year. Clemson was not going to the playoffs, but it won the conference championship, and so they had to make room essentially. Yeah. So you don't want one of those. I don't think Tennessee has played complementary football all year like they can. My question about the defense: last year sacks and turnovers were non-existent, but the defense was really good, and that was the issue last year, was not enough turnovers and sacks. Now, this year, they lead the country in sacks, number 2 in turnovers. Are they actually bad, or is the offense not taking advantage of the turnovers like they could, which makes the Arkansas game a blowout?
Well, I mean, they certainly didn't take advantage of them in the Arkansas game. I mean, if you count the turnover on downs, Arkansas had 4 turnovers. 3 fumbles and a turnover on downs. Tennessee scored 1 touchdown out of those 4 possessions that they gave them the ball back. Didn't take advantage of it the way that you need to. In the Georgia game, Tennessee had an interception at the end of the half. I don't count that one. There was no time there. But then we all know what happens after the fumble, where Tennessee comes out and they have a 5-yard penalty because they can't avoid false starting to start a possession, and then they ran it 3 times. Mississippi State, 2 turnovers. Both of those were defensive scores. Syracuse, you had a scoop and score, defensive score, and then the other one, the interception by T-Lander, Tennessee scored a touchdown out of it. Obviously, if you force 4 turnovers, if you count turnover on downs, if you force what you did against Arkansas in this game, you have to score more than 7 points. You have to capitalize on it more and get points out of those turnovers than what Tennessee did a week ago. Had Tennessee scored, and taken advantage of that, that game's different. But, defensively, they've got to play better. They got to get off the field on 3rd down. Stop letting drives get extended. Offensively, when they give you a shorter field, you got to go take advantage of it. And Tennessee didn't do that with that, particularly the first one in the Arkansas game, which I thought was a pivotal moment. You want to try to jump on Arkansas, Grant. Maybe they roll over. How long do they have their stinger if they get behind, and get, or having to start chasing points? And Tennessee didn't capitalize when they forced that first turnover. And, they had the run playing and 2 deep shots and punted the football back. That was a big moment in the game early.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it more frustrating is they were matching touchdowns for touchdowns, and when they did get off the field, it was 3 and outs. There was at one point where they had 4 stops, and they had 13 plays after those 4 stops, and it was 33 total yards, and 32 of them were a Deshaun Bishop run. That just can't happen. It's a failure across multiple levels when you're not taking advantage in that way.
Vols Forever 901 with Germie Bernard's comments. This is now 2 weeks in a row that an opponent has talked smack about our defense before the game. At what point does it become embarrassing? Grant, you and I were also talking about this. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, it's embarrassing when the Arkansas running back says it and then it comes to life.
And then rattles off a 38-yard run on his first touch.
Right. You watch it play out over the first 15, 17, 20 minutes of that game Saturday in Knoxville. So it becomes embarrassing then, and then when it happens 2 weeks in a row, I think it just becomes a pride thing. Your pride's being tested here. Can you do something about it, or are you going to let it happen again?
It's a good question here from Iheartvols. Who is the most talented, in all caps, running back on the roster? Not who has played the best or the most, but who's the most talented a talented running back on the roster?
I mean, I think you could make arguments for all 3 of them.
I mean, I think if you're talking about speed and power, from a physical standpoint, it's probably Peyton Lewis. I don't think he's got the vision right now that the other guys have. And I mean, maybe he doesn't get it. I don't know. I think Deshaun Bishop is a guy whose talent shows up more later in games as he gets more carries under his belt. DeJuan Morris is as talented as anybody when you talk about the speed. He's not a between the tackles guy right now, but I think he will develop into that. I don't know the answer to this question. And because I think running backs are all such different type players, right? I mean, Alvin Kamara, for when he had good people around him, he's on a bad team right now, was a very productive, very good NFL player, but is a 180-degree opposite style of Derrick Henry. Yeah. What Bijan Robinson doing for the Falcons right now is different than what you see some other running backs out there doing. So, I mean, the running back position is just not a cookie-cutter position anymore because there's so many different ways, Grant, to run the football in the game of football, whether it's the NFL level, the college level, or whatever. You don't have to be the big bruiser you used to. I mean, there's all different types of backs, and I think Tennessee's got a collection of a bunch of different types of backs right now.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Peyton Lewis among those 3 just in terms of the raw talent and because his ceiling seems so high because of that raw talent. But right now you can't argue with what Deshaun's doing production-wise, and it takes talent to do that.
Well, I mean, how many times have you seen a quarterback that from a raw talent standpoint, quick release, arm talent, all that stuff looks like $1 million, but then he doesn't process it. For a running back, as Hub said, it's about the vision and the footwork and some of those little things that maybe can take a guy like Deshaun Bishop and make him better than he is. And can take a guy that's uber talented and maybe slow them down a little bit.
Halls_Vol 42. Would you blitz more on 3rd and long at this point instead of playing coverage? T-Lander and Carter are much more effective rushers than in pass coverage. How can the safeties improve the most? What is the main issue there? We'll start with the blitzing on 3rd and long.
I think you have to mix it up. I mean, I think if everybody knows you're going to blitz every play on 3rd down, then they're going to beat you one-on-one, particularly this group of receivers. I think this group of receivers relishes one-on-one coverage. Now, if you're going to play zone coverage, then you can't have gaping holes. It can't be 7-on-7. It looks like 7-on-7 too much. If you're going to play zone coverage and you're going to play at the sticks, don't line up at the sticks and back up 7 yards. Stay at the sticks. I mean, that goes back to what Willie Martinez was talking about, Eric, and some of the frustrations that you were talking about earlier. It's like, just have some awareness, like know where you're at, know what you're doing there. And, there are some things where I don't know that Tennessee is busting some things, straight out busting it, just straight out missed assignments. And then there's some other things where Tennessee is just fundamentally and technique wise, it looks like they're playing it wrong. I mean, you go back to the 3rd and 10 touchdown that is at the last touchdown drive for Arkansas that they score. I don't know that anybody busted anything, Eric, but there's no way they played that the way that that's supposed to be played. You're not supposed to have a 20-yard wide gaping hole in the middle of the field on 3rd and 10 there. So I think it's a variety of things. I do think you have to be aggressive. You've got to take some chances. If you can blitz and force an incompletion, and that seems to be working, you probably lean on that a little bit more just because Tennessee's really struggling right now in zone coverage. I mean, it's either a sack or it's an explosive play is what it feels like in zone coverage right now.
Yeah, and again, I'm not pretending to be a coach here, but just because it's zone coverage, everybody has a man in zone coverage, okay? You still have a man. Now, that man can leave your zone and somebody else comes in and your man switches, right? That play specifically, T-Lander, number 3, I think it was a tight end. He was lined up as H-back or whatever. You still need to drop. You still need to drop instead of just being huddled up around the line of scrimmage. Also, is there supposed to be safety help over the top of them? But then again, in the red zone, things are condensed. It's harder for that safety to get over the top to help you. Just play smarter. Yeah, just know your man, but also, know your zone, but also know that you have a man in your zone, and just don't get caught underneath. Let's go to Wesley 28. Why does Tennessee not run bootlegs or any outside design runs? Seems like all the run plays are between the tackles. Yes, I know the offense isn't the problem. Just think it has the potential to be better.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, the PFF chart says Tennessee's run the ball more outside, left end and right end than they have any other place in the football field. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what the PFF stats say. I mean, you go back and look. They tried to go outside Grant on that Georgia drive everybody talks about. They tried to pop it out there, and they didn't get the corner block the way that they needed to. You go back to the drive that everybody talks about in the Arkansas game where Josh Heupel took his foot off the gas because they ran it. They ran outside for 4 yards, put them in 3rd and 3. The next call was an outside run, and the running back chose not to take it outside. So, I mean, in the zone scheme stuff, there's some stuff that, the running backs just got to make a read and make a call there. A lot of it's box count. There's just a lot of things that go into that. I am going to be curious to see how much they use Joey Aguilar's legs this week.
I mean, bootleg specifically, I don't feel like Joey's had to bootleg. I mean, I'm a fan of bootleg stuff as well, but Joey's been good as is. I don't know why you go and change that until you have to add something to it, because I think what we've seen right now has been good enough, at least from Joey.
Hey guys and gals, I'd like to tell you about the great people over at Game Time. Game Time, it is an app that gives the advantage back to the fans, because when you're trying to buy tickets to college football games this season, or maybe even tickets to go to a concert or a show that's in your area, man, sometimes trying to get the ticket feels like more of a hassle, or feels like more work than the game itself for the players out there. It's mind-boggling, it's sitting in endless queues for hours, or surprise fees at checkouts, or whatever the case may be. But Game Time doesn't do that. Game Time gives the advantage back to the fans. All right. And incredibly easy to use. The Game Time Guarantee, one of my favorite parts of the app, means that you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included. So what you see is what you pay for. Also, you can see your seat. They're going to show you a view from your seats before you actually pay for the ticket, so you know exactly what you're getting. I talked about it earlier. Again, it's not just for sports. It can be for shows. It can be for things in your area. This past summer, wife and I, it was the tail end of football camp and wanted to go to a Smokies game, right? New Covenant Health Ballpark. Before we went, we bought our ticket on the Game Time app. It was quick, easy, affordable, and I actually waited right before first pitch to do it, and it's sometimes cheaper the later you wait. Procrastinating actually worked out in favor for me, right? Zone deals, seat views, the lowest price guarantee where Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a cheaper ticket somewhere else in the same section on another app, right? Fantastic stuff. What are you waiting for? Go check out Game Time today when you're buying these college football tickets this season. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, put in the redeem code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account, put in the redeem code ON3 for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. SEC Carnage Week 8. Many top teams going on the road. Who's losing from this group? LSU is at Vanderbilt. A&M is at
Arkansas.
Ole Miss is at Georgia. Oklahoma is at
South Carolina. You've got Mizzou that's at Auburn, and Texas, which is at
Kentucky.
Any of those teams, I think LSU could obviously lose on the road for sure. I think Ole Miss loses on the road this weekend. I want Mississippi State to win on the. I know he didn't say that. I want Mississippi State to win on the road. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think there's a potential for 3 teams to win on the road. I think Mizzou could certainly win on the road in the Plains, LSU in Nashville, and
Texas.
Texas
is not winning. Texas is not losing on the road. I
Right.
guess what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay, I thought you were looking for winners. Yeah, Texas going to win on the road.
Yes.
A&M's interesting going to Fayetteville. I thought Arkansas looked better than I expected. Cleaner, more disciplined. Obviously not a lot of penalties called on them, so that got a good quarterback. So see what they look like at home under Bobby Petrino.
I'm fascinated by this Missouri-Auburn game because I don't know how either team reacts to what happened to them last week. Missouri had spent a month getting ready for Alabama because they had played nobody. And then they can't close that game out in the fourth quarter. They threw the interception late that would have put it probably in field goal range to tie it up. We all know what happened in the Auburn game. How did those two teams react to those losses? A lot of people are just going to assume Missouri's going to win. Winning is hard. Winning on the road is hard in this league. I'm curious to see how Auburn responds and how Missouri is after what they went through last week.
KickingVol, little off topic, but where do you see Alex Golesh ending up? Doesn't seem like he will be at USF much longer as his team continues to win.
I don't know. I think it depends on who really comes after him hard. What big school is willing to kind of go the South Florida route for their next head coach. I mean, there's obviously going to be pressure from donors at some of those big schools to go with a big name. But what he's done down there has been impressive, and he's going to get a shot somewhere. The question is who goes all in on AG?
Well, I think the other thing, too, is he's in a great position because he's got all the leverage.
Yeah, he doesn't
he's not in a bad spot at South Florida, given where they're playing. So I think he can be extremely selective. I don't think he has to take the first Power 4 job that comes his way if he doesn't think it's a winnable situation. And I think that, he really wanted to be a head coach. And so he jumped on the South Florida job. And he's obviously done a really good job down there. And they've committed to him. I think this go around, it's not this quest to be the head coach. I think it's about finding the right fit. I think he'll be really selective. Now, if Penn State come calling, sure. I mean, if something happened with Matt Campbell at Iowa State, would he be on the top of Iowa State's list? Absolutely, he would be. Would he go back to Iowa State? I would think, yeah, absolutely, he would look at that job. But I do think he can be pretty selective in this cycle right now.
If it comes down to it, and a field goal, who wins? I think this is interesting because obviously Max Gilbert has got a freaking leg, okay? He missed the Georgia one. We know that. You look at Alabama's field goal kicker, and he's made, I think, a 50-yarder on the year, and that's it. He's like 8 of 13 on the season. So he's 9 of 13 on the year with a long of 46. He's 0 for 1. He's attempted one 53-yard field goal. So I think that's a really interesting question. If it came down to it, who wins in a field goal?
Whoever kicks the field goal. That'd be my vote.
Yes, I'm with Grant. I don't know how you answer that. I mean, how does anybody handle a pressure situation? I thought the 50-yard kick from Gilbert was a big one for him for confidence, but that's not a game-winning situation. That was a big kick, but that's not a game-winning situation. That's different than what you saw at the end of the Georgia game. I think Alabama has shown where they kind of feel like they are. They feel much better going for it on fourth down. I think they've gone for fourth down 16 times this year, something like that. They've been super aggressive on fourth down in the fourth quarter. So, I think early in a game, I think Alabama probably leans towards going for it as opposed. Now, obviously, it's very different if time's expiring and you've got to go out and try to make a game-winning kick, and you go out there and hope your guy makes the kick. That's what happens there when you're in a total end of game situation.
Couple of questions about the student part of student athlete. Are collegiate athletes still required to pass a certain number of hours per semester to stay eligible? Do athletic programs still get in trouble if their students do not graduate or make progress toward graduation? When was the last time that you heard of a player getting suspended due to academics?
I mean, I haven't. I mean, yes, they still have to pass hours, but everybody's got an APR bonus in their contract grant, and everybody's hit that bonus. It's like It's just like a given. Hey, here's supplement to your salary. I mean,
also, to my knowledge, I mean, at least how it worked when I was in college. I mean, if you don't make the grades to pass your hour courses, like it's that next semester. Like nobody's going to come in week 7 and say, "Hey, you're out this week."
No, that's the story was always bowl games. There's somebody ineligible for a bowl game. In this day and age, some guy's he's passing 6 hours to get eligible. Or if he doesn't, he's opted out and he's moving on elsewhere. But I mean, how many people have you heard about, Austin, who can't transfer because they don't, they're not in good enough academic standing? I mean,
nobody.
It just doesn't. I mean, it's not a thing anymore. You don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not.
You have every resource you could possibly imagine at your disposal as well.
I mean, most of these guys are taking online classes too. I mean,
nobody has to go JUCO anymore. Nobody's partial qualifiers anymore. That stuff's gone way up the dodo.
Like at Tennessee specifically, if you're a freshman student athlete on campus, you're mandatory like a certain amount of hours in study hall, and you're mandatory you're mandated to go meet with a tutor. So that's just your first year on campus. It's set up for success. Kdgovols, with Saturday Jordan Ross's coming out party, do you see him maintaining that level of production the rest of the season?
He played well. I mean, he rushed the passer well. He still can play the run better, but I mean, he's playing well. He's another one that he'll be amped up for this one too. Yep. I mean, it's in his backyard, so he doesn't need to jump off sides. He's got to keep himself under control here. But he oozes with talent, and you saw that talent on display Saturday as much as you've seen it in his career so far.
Who had oozes from Hubs on the bingo card today? I love it.
He oozes with talent. Brent Hubs.
I got no talent.
He's representing the Gibbs Eagles. Who they got? Fulton Friday night?
They have the Fulton Falcons Friday night.
It's a game that always gives the Eagles trouble.
Can they win out and get the 2 seed, pushing Anderson County into
Nobody listening to this podcast cares.
I'm going to take the Eagles in this one by a landslide, but this is historically, Hubs, a game that kind of gives some trouble.
So RowdyVol wants to know, which wide receiver trio would you rather have?
I didn't know you had the questions. What the heck, man? I like this question. If we could do what I used to do on a former radio show I was a part of, let's do start, bench, cut. Tyler and Will, 99.1 The Sports Animal. Here's the start, bench, cut. Here are the options. Here are the trios. Jennings, Palmer, and Callaway. Hyatt, Tillman, McCoy. Or Matthews, Brazel, Staley. I think it's pretty easy, honestly.
All right, go ahead then.
Based on just what we've seen in the National Football League so far, you start Jennings, Palmer, and Callaway. You bench Matthews, Brazel, Staley, and I think you cut Hyatt, Tillman, McCoy.
So you're based it on NFL, not on college production.
Yeah, you can make it your own. I mean, on college, it's hard to Hyatt, Tillman, McCoy is certainly up there just because of Jalen Hyatt and Tillman had a good career. I'm making it my own, just kind of where they are right now in their playing careers.
Okay. What do you got, Grant?
I start Hyatt, Tillman, McCoy, bench Matthews, Brazel, Staley, cut Jennings, Palmer, Callaway. Jennings, Palmer, Callaway more so because of the offense they were in and just wasn't a good era of Tennessee football. They're all extremely talented because of what they've done since then. Hyatt was the big play guy that Brazel has been, and then you had two veterans in Tillman and McCoy. And this is no offense to Matthews, Brazel, and Staley because it feels like those guys are just getting started.
If Tillman had not been hurt for most of that 22 season, which again allowed Jalen Hyatt to be Jalen Hyatt, I would tell you that. But since they technically never played that many games together, I'm going to go start. I'm starting wherever Jawan Jennings is at. So I will start that group, even though they did play in a terrible offensive era. I am benching the 2022 group, and I'm cutting this year's group.
Three different answers. Hubs, what do you got? Make it your own.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, I would love to see Jennings, Palmer, and Callaway in the offense that they're playing now. I think that would have been pretty fascinating to watch. The thing about Brazel, Matthews, and Staley is they're the three guys who can do more than any of those other three guys. The other groups are pigeonholed into kind of what they are and who they can be. There's more versatility with Brazel, Matthews, and Staley, but they don't have enough tread on their tires right now for that to be the lead dog in terms of who I would rather have.
Speaking of wide receivers, what do you think the contingency plan is at wide receiver if one of the three starters gets hurt and is out for an extended period of time against Alabama or possibly Kentucky? 2
tight end sets could be my guess, right?
You could put David Sanders out there and run the Caden Proctor offense.
Could.
I'd rather be Lance Hurd, but yeah.
I mean, I think they would like to get Brame to a point where maybe he could help them somewhat as a slot guy. It would be a different slot work, but maybe they would get there for some depth. But I think if you're dealing with something like that, you're going to go into a 2 tight end set, and you're going to try to win in 12 personnel.
Yeah, I would agree. A couple more here. Hype, my lord, would you guys say that DGG is the biggest fish in 27? I know these days running back position has been devaluated, blah, 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 blah. Is he the biggest fish, Austin? Matt Ray will say yes.
Yeah, he's the number one player on the board. We say that on zero scores all the time. Number one player, any position. Number one target, number one priority, number one everything.
Were y'all surprised that all of David Sanders' snaps came at the expense of Jesse Perry instead of Shamu Marov?
I was initially, but then after having conversation with some people, including Jesse Perry, I think it was about Jesse. Jesse's got to get more comfortable working back at guard. He worked at guard all the preseason, and then he hasn't worked at guard for basically 6 weeks. Remember the open date, he was in a walking boot, didn't practice, so he didn't get any guard work then. I think last week he got a little bit of guard work, but it was more tackle stuff to get ready for a game. I think he's doing more guard stuff this week. So we'll see. But I think it's more about getting Perry comfortable inside than it was anything else at this point in time. I do think they'll at some point get back to that group of 5 where they were at the end of fall camp. But you would have liked to have had Jesse Perry on the practice field during the open date to help you get there, but it was just unfortunate he couldn't be.
Last question. We'll go to Big Orange Crush. I think the safety position and defensive back should be the key focus for us during the transfer portal this year, especially at safety. I feel we need a major upgrade. Do you agree?
Yes, wholeheartedly. 47,206 exclamation points.
Well, here's the thing, too. It's not just that you're quote, need an upgrade there. They need bodies there.
Yes.
They need bodies in the secondary. When you look at, you thought when you took a transfer from Colton Hood, you're probably going to get him for a couple of years. Probably not going to happen. McCoy's going to be gone. Now you're going to get – you should get Gibson back. Boo Carter certainly doesn't seem like he's going to be a part of things moving forward. Turrentine's gone. Jalen McMurray's gone. Like, you need bodies, plus you need talent. So regardless of how that group played this year, they were going to go heavy in the transfer portal. They're obviously going to go heavy in the portal at the entire secondary, the entire back end of the defense.
We need to change this to mailbag therapy, not the mailbag podcast. It's been an hour of just therapy. Yes.
Do you feel better or worse?
Worse. Exponentially worse. Exponentially worse.
It's like you always want to be like, well, this team is a field goal away from being 6-0, right? But also it's like you got to recognize that there's some issues they got to clean up to where they're going to lose some games if they don't. So like it's playing both sides of that. But I mean, yeah, you're 5-1, 2-1, chance to go down there and do something you hadn't done since 03. Should be jacked up, ready to roll. You jacked up, Grant?
Always.
Okay.
I wake up that way. I go to bed that way. Always. You know me, Mr. Excitement.
That is your personality.
Mr. Excitement.
Always 100.
Me and Jimmy Spencer, Mr. Excitement.
Jimmy. I didn't have a Jimmy Spencer reference on this podcast today, so that was well played.
Now you do.
I mean, no one sends out more rays of sunshine than I do. So let's just be real honest.
That is true.
All right, appreciate you guys for being here and being a part of the Mailbag Podcast.
I'm figuring out if Kane knows who Jimmy Spencer is.
That would be a no.
Let it go. No clue. I do not know.
Grant,
tell me, enlighten me.
A NASCAR driver in the '90s who his nickname was Mr. Excitement, but he just pissed everybody off.
He was angry. He was angry all the time.
Yeah, his car was sponsored by Camel cigarettes. Joe Camel. He was awesome.
Yeah, there was no chance in any universe I would have gotten that one.
Matt Ray would have got that one. Matt Ray was a huge Jimmy Spencer fan.
Did he drive a McDonald's
big camel
car
guy,
at one point,
Matt Ray.
or was it always the camel car?
He drove McDonald's.
No. All right, we got to go. Appreciate you guys sending in these questions here on the Thursday morning podcast. Again, $1 for 7 days. Come check us out. Got a lot going on. #1 Tennessee football online community there is. That is the General's Quarters. Big game coming up. We'll be with you every step of the way. Continue to dive into all of our content this week here at volquest.com.